could Dana talk about his memorization process and maybe your composing process a little bit?
Yeah, I don't memorize poems, but here's how I compose a poem. I mutter to myself, and I walk. In fact, I've got, I'm having, like Al Young, I've got neuropathy too, so sometimes it hurts to walk, but I'll walk for miles, I'll say it to myself, and then occasionally I'll write a line down. But I keep it in my mind, and I figure, even if I'm working in free verse, I do this. If I can't remember it, then it's not good enough. And so I keep doing it and doing it. So I may walk for 2 hours and get 2 lines, or and I let the poems grow that way. So by the time that the poem is done, I have it by memory. My problem, and actually I did this today, I sometimes remember an earlier draft. So there was one of the tales of Western heroes show duels in the noonday sun, but darkness and deception is how most killings done. I remember it was, earlier version was midday, and I had midday here, but noonday is better. But I forgot, but I was remembering an earlier version. So if you write the poems, what goddess is the mother of the 9 muses? Must know these things as poets. We're part of a magical trick. The goddess Mnemosyne, which means memory. Memory is the mother of the muses. And so, think of yourself as a musician. Think of yourself as a magician. So you have to summon the spell. You say, well, I don't remember this damn spell. And make it part of your compositional process. And I think you'll tend to create more memorable work. And I think it's one of those, how do you, one other piece of advice I'd give, and it's kind of related to this, is try to make your language physical. Be able to, the language which when you say it aloud, you feel it in a weird way. A lot of contemporary poetry is not physical at all, it's very, very intellectual. So my whole compositional process with each year has become farther away from the page, more physical, more vocal, more musical. And I think that's the way musicians compose by and large. Maybe one last question.
Yes, sir.
So I'm not familiar with your work except for what you shared, and thank you, you read beautifully. A lot of your work tends towards iambic pentameter, but you're loose with the lines, sometimes 10, sometimes 11, 9. You'll vary. Is that intentional? Is it musical? And do you fight it, or do you struggle to keep it right at 10?
Let me repeat this. He's interested in your use of iambic pentameter and your loosening of it, sometimes with 9 syllables, sometimes 11, but sort of basically in a rough, many of your poems are in a rough iambic pentameter. I think of Elizabeth Bishop when you asked that question, because I know she was your mentor, and she was interested in the loosening of form, but always came back to iambic pentameter.
Well, I write in every meter in English except syllabics. I can't hear syllabics unless I'm writing haiku. I can hear a haiku, but I can't hear syllabics. So I write in, but what you're hearing is something different. I write impeccable iambic pentameter, but I also write stress verse, where I'm counting 4 beats, like the ballad. This ballad is basically I'm counting 3 beats per line, and then occasionally I'll tighten it into iambs, and occasionally I'll loosen it. So if you're writing stress verse, like this is a 4 stress line. Star light, star bright, 4 syllables. First star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might, have the wish I wish tonight. It's 4 beats, but it goes from 4 syllables to 11 syllables, depending on how you do it. And so that was for me, once again, a big breakthrough, because I was writing, I didn't want everything to be iambic, but I wanted the beat. I like the beat, because the beat's physical. We hear the beat in songs. And so I have iambic pentameter. Now my rules of iambic pentameter are a little different, but they come out of Shakespeare and Frost, 2 people that are writing for the ear. I write, dactyls, anapis, I write stress verse and everything else. But, and all of those work. And so, it's a beat line. what else is written with a 4-beat line? All of hip hop. So it's, they tend to, there's a polyrhythm that goes under that, but it's, it's ballads are written, 4-beat lines. So anyway, but I'll tell you something, I'll end on this. Interrogations at Noon, which was my third book, I think it was my third book. It won the American Book Award. I used every possible meter in English, except syllabics. Actually, in one case, I had a little syllabic at one part. Not one critic noticed.
Well, that's because the writing is so skillful.
Well, it is. I mean, I think it is. I mean, I don't, put it, but it was interesting. And I did, and that allowed me to have all these different kinds of tunes, but nobody noticed. That's okay, because it's a composition.
Obligatory follow-up, who are you reading?
Who are you reading, Dana? Or who has fomented your poetry?
No,
Well,
who are you reading?
Who are you reading
Right
now?
now, well, see, the thing is that I get books in the mail, so I just got Ted Kuzer's selected poems, and I got David Mason's selected poems. So I'm reading both of those right now. And I like Kuzer, and I like Mason, and then I actually, so I was reading that the other night. Gwyneth Lewis, who was a Welsh poet, former poet laureate of Wales. But I read poetry a lot. I mean, I like to read, I have books around. I just read a couple of, poems a day. I just finished editing the Best American Poetry of 2018. So last year, God help me, I read about 14,000 new poems. Didn't finish them all, but I read about 14,000 to pick the 75 that went into the book. So I don't really want to read new poems this year. So anyway,
Dana's
thank you.
favorite poems are up on this is his website, and you can look up a lot of poets that he'd recommend, right?
Yeah.
On the website, and many of whom you've written about very well. And thank you for your generosity, your wonderful reading, and there'll be book signing in the back of the room.